warm good morning to you, our Camnet TV viewers. Welcome to the Monday edition of the Camnet Breakfast Show today, 20th. Supposed to present the show joined by my beautiful colleague, Miriam Kemba. And today we're going to be joined by a medical doctor, Dr. Teji Mulenga, who's going to help us discuss the potential ban of shisha in Zambia. So now, the doctor who sits on the Tobacco Association of Zambia, TOFAZA, has been advocating for the ban of shisha smoking in Zambia. And today we're going to hear him tell us all the disadvantages of shisha smoking as well as the regulation of tobacco. How is tobacco being regulated? We know that tobacco is one of the leading killers of death and even kills, according to the association, it kills about 7,000 people in Zambia per year. Due to smoking, 7,000 people die, according to TOFAZA. They die to cancer-related diseases as a result of tobacco smoking. But anyway, just before we go into our topic for today, let's just take a look at what our doctors have for us on today's health corner.
Hi, and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakuyana Mufaya. So this week we are back again with yet another very exciting topic, and we continue to look at conditions that affect women. And since this is March, and March is the Women's Month, so we'll look at another issue this week that affects a lot of women, and it's the most common cancer in women. And so we'll talk about breast cancer this week. Now, breast cancer, like I have said, is very common in women, and many women usually get breast cancer. And so we want to understand what is breast cancer and what are some of the risk factors that cause or predispose you to have breast cancer. We also want to know what are some of the signs and symptoms, so that when you see those signs or those symptoms, you can be able to take yourself to the hospital or take your loved ones to the hospital. We also look at how it's diagnosed and treated, and then we also look at how you can prevent breast cancer at home. So like I said, breast cancer is very common in women, and it's the most common cancer in women. However, not only women suffer from breast cancer, even men can have breast cancer. And when men have breast cancer, it's more aggressive, meaning it's more likely to be very fatal in men than in women. So even men can have breast cancer. And when a man has breast cancer, then it's more likely to be fatal. So we'll look at breast cancer and what is breast cancer today. So breast cancer is a cancer that occurs in the breast, and there are different types, so many types of breast cancer that can occur in the breast. And so we want to know exactly what really causes breast cancer. Now, there are certain risk factors that people would have that would predispose them to have breast cancer. But most of the times, what causes breast cancer is people who have inherited a certain gene from their family members. So you might find that somebody who had a family history of breast cancer inherits a gene that would cause the breast cancer to occur in their body. And so usually breast cancer is caused by a gene that mutates in the body that would cause the breast cancer to happen. However, there are other causes that we'll look at on a different day, so make sure you watch tomorrow again to be able to know exactly what are some of the other things that can cause breast cancer. So today we're looking at what is breast cancer, and we say that breast cancer is a cancer that occurs in the breast, and we say that usually it's women who have inherited a certain gene from their family members, from their parents or their grandparents, that would have that would have breast cancer, that would develop breast cancer. And so that is what usually causes breast cancer. Make sure you watch tomorrow again to be able to know what are some of the other causes or some of the other risk factors of breast cancer. I do hope you have learned something today, and make sure that You invite your friends to watch as well. And if you missed any episodes of the Health Corner, you can always look at my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Nakupena Mfaya, and you'll be able to find all the things that we talk about here on the Health Corner. I do hope you have learned something. I'll see you again tomorrow.
Quite interesting. I hope you learned one or two things there on what the doctor was looking at breast cancer. Zipporah, I didn't say good morning to you.
Oh yeah, did you say good morning to our viewers? I've just realized.
Good morning to our viewers and good morning to you. How was your weekend so far?
It was raining. It's surprised us here in Lusaka. You know, some showers there.
Yeah.
The weather cool. The coast has been hot of late, but I think the rain season is almost coming to an end now.
Others were telling me maybe it might be a possibility of Cyclone Fred. Yeah,
I was scared. And speaking of Cyclone Freddy, I think, you know, Zambia, you know, is now in the spotlight after we extended a helping hand to Malawi.
To Malawi. That was a very, very good thing that we did there.
Yeah, because otherwise, you know, every time we're the ones begging for money, asking for aid as African countries, but we should be able to help each other. And we hope that next time when you have a crisis, they also
do the same thing. Yeah, and we're quite important thing there. But right about now, go direct into our money market and see how our kwacha is performing against other currencies. So we have the Great British Pound. They are buying at 24 kwacha 76 ngwe and selling at 25 kwacha 25 ngwe. We have the United States dollar. They are buying at 20 kwacha 38 ngwe and selling at 20 kwacha 79 ngwe. We have the euro. They are buying at 21 kwacha 66 ngwe and selling at 22 kwacha 09 ngwe. We have the South African rand. They are buying at 1 kwacha 11 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 13 ngwe. Already on the United States dollar, there on the buying side, it's going towards 21 depot.
Yeah, that's something that is quite scary. And
if you have dollars in your house, it's a good thing, because basically when you change into kwacha, you have, you know, a little bit of money there, yeah. But then again, the impact that this has on our price, how our price is being reflective over this, and you know, talking about the commodities, price of commodities, different commodities going up. That's the major concern that we're currently having.
And I remember someone yesterday on social media was even asking, saying, why should we allow hotels to be pricing
in dollars?
Yes, in dollars. They always price their rooms in dollars, but why should we allow, if we're in Zambia, why should we allow them pricing in dollars? That's now, like, you know, causing this inflation issue. And maybe that's how
there are even certain shops in town which I know do price their rentals in dollars. Yeah.
Just $3,000.
Exactly.
That means they're paying a lot of money.
A lot of money.
30,000, 40,000 somewhere there. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, what are some of the stories that we have for our viewers this morning that made headlines yesterday and the other week?
So yesterday we actually had a story from their compound, and it actually has to do with the same dollar miriam, where the traders are saying that no one is now buying their goods. For example, we're talking to some carpenters, and one carpenter said he has not sold any single sofa in 5 months.
Wow.
So
5 months.
He was saying he didn't know the reason why he goes for work. You know, like, it means he has to find another means of surviving while still going for work. So he said people would rather use whatever little money they have to buy, you know, food here and there, but not you know, disposable income, where you now start looking at luxury. You buy sofas, you buy, no. The main concern is just food at this moment. So now they're calling for the economy to be opened up, you know, for policies that will ensure that the economy is opened up, so that at least things can start moving in Zambia. We're talking about disposable income. I'm not, you know, you pay your rent, you reserve money for fuel or maybe for transport, and then that's all. You just sit and, you know, no, you need money not to live, to be alive.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, let's get direct into playing that story. and we'll continue with our discussion.
An approximate 70% of Zambia's working population is employed by the informal sector, either through self-employment or working for an employer, according to statistics from the International Labour Organization. It is for this reason that the state of the business environment in Zambia has a direct impact on the majority of citizens, as this is their source of income. Traders in Lusaka's Mutendere compound, however, state that the business has come to a standstill due to prevailing economic hardships in the country, stating that only few are willing to buy their goods. They were speaking to Camnet News Sunday morning.
No matter what I'm going to want free education, no more extension uniform. We don't have free education, if people don't have free education, because if you don't have business, October, last year October, on 5 months, number maremtos to Kalari Pirench. Fions having to watch and moving to Nafikosa.
There's a cap to Zamba Paso Chitechi, Maroni, Namanja Manon Siwa Nick. You CDF, we took over to CDF, Namanja CDF of Benam, inaenda kutika penopasa vandani kapenopasa na usiku sitizira watu ngoja botuke CDF kumba ino siku tingaitani tikhala vantu ofutika maningi tofuna kuthandizika ifite vantu ngomba sithandizika angatathandiza vambili kondava ngatizima msiku yasebetiza kuti thandizike ngomba manje wembekete mitinacho tikagula tomato tose tuononge tikule onion yonse yononge fili fonse yabefiyononge tunga kutaya. So business ya tifuta maningi mandini bwibe boza drama mwibe mzigo. Stuza jameti chita zaso kwa kutuka skizi.
Others have urged the Zambia Department of Immigration to heighten inspections, stating that illegal immigrants are now in stiff competition with citizens in various businesses.
Then zapeza tikambili wanzatu mzungiza tuwa na ndrama zambili kuchilaize weba zapeza kati wao kwani isa kuoda wangaza wale tera uoda pati wakusi haku mshuma ise mafoli mazambians teza kati wakangwa koda pati mafoli na zapeza tuwa oda pati waoda kwani okay munga like me I may believe aniza tukufukosa kwa vintu sometimes it's just time, it's just season but kai konga na government yake not a promise tutuwe wakangena mche vintu visa chinji so wantu wanashita focus pa ya meja mao yao but of which vankalatu wesi than before. So still very critical. So we just continue praying to God is the one that can help us.
They further state that there is need to lower the exchange rate of the United States dollar to the Zambian kwacha, which is now trading at 20 kwacha 24 ngwe, to see to it that the economy is opened up. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Quite interesting there, Zipporah. I can see how people are basically complaining about how, you know, they have been affected by this harsh economy and talking about how the dollar has gone up and how this is impacting their business, commodities are high. We hope that things by the end of this year. I keep on saying that anyway. We
but
hope by
last
the end
year
of this.
we said from January to December, we said by the end of this year, and you know it went on the.
But you know, basically for me, I would want to see certain changes by June. Yeah.
A 6 months period.
A 6 months period, because we have seen, you know, the current administration promising us, you know, certain things that they've put in place to ensure that, you know, the economy is back to normal. So we need to start seeing these things. We can't wait for December. When we wait for December, it will be 2024. 2024, it will be 2025. Now people start talking. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2025, 2026,
2026. In fact, by 2025, people will start thinking about, you know, campaigns and all sort of things. So they'll already, you know, shift their mind into campaign mode, the campaign mode. So right about now, this is the best time for people to start seeing the changes little by little. It cannot be the huge difference that we can see right now, but we will need to see those certain changes. An example I can cite is we need to see some few changes in the price of the fuel. You know, we need to see, which is almost at 30 kwacha, you know. So these are little things that we need to see changes of, because you will agree with me that when fuel anyway, God forbid, but when it goes to 30 quarter, you see that things, prices of commodities will drastically go up. And this will be a very, very, very bad thing for us. Imagine how it will affect a commoner, okay? A commoner like me, those in the rural areas, the impact that it will have. So we will just pray for a better thing by June. Yeah.
Hopefully, since it will be like 6 months into 2023. Moving on, ma'am, we do have another story from Kanyama. Please, just kindly tell us or update us on that story.
So on Saturday, we saw one of our colleague, Beatrice, going on ground, just to observe the situation at Kanyama Clinic. We had received calls from various residents. They are complaining how the healthy personnel there, are mistreating them, talking about the health condition, the sanitation issues being bad at the clinic, the toilets being bad. This is a healthy facility, and then you're talking about having bad toilets. And then specifically also they did touch on how, expectant mothers are suffering when it comes to the maternity ward, how they are not treated with the dignity by these medical personnel, and how ZIPO medical personnel are taking advantage of selling different products to these expecting mothers. You go with your, I don't know what they carry, but your soap, your what, but then you'll be told to buy again when you reach at the office. However, we are told that those medical personnel do sell those things. Others are not even doing their job. They're selling fritters in the corridors. So those were the complaints, and we are still following up that story so that we can get to a conclusion of the matter.
Quite interesting. Then let's just take a look at that story and do join us in the conversation. Just now we actually open up our phone lines as we are discussing issues making headlines right now, and at 8 as we'll be discussing should shisha smoking be banned in Zambia. So let's just open up our phone lines so that our viewers can call in, and feel free to leave us messages on Facebook as well. But let's just take a look at that story from Kanyama Clinic.
Sanitation and good service delivery in hospitals are a very vital component in attaining Sustainable Development Goals 3 and 6. Despite the government's effort to improve sanitation and health in the country through the construction of hospitals in areas like Chawama, Kanyama, and others, sanitation still remains a huge challenge. And some residents in Kanyama have expressed concern over not just poor sanitation, but also poor service delivery by hospital staff at Kanyama Level 1 Hospital.
Nchito chabeba nkala chabeba ngogulisa chabema yes drinki bapitisa mo madondo ma cream donuts mu toilets muli clean surrounding yonse ina doti kuno kwanetili na matenda tingankalemo vonse tista chabe kugula kuno.
They have lamented that there is poor sanitation at the hospital, adding that the staff too are incompetent in their line of work. They further state that the hospital staff operate indiscriminately, especially in labor wards.
Services mwanzi nyovuta vonse ukabwela nikugula ukafika chabi paja jiki nshwatenga kudala makoto nunshi watenga kudala bakuza ulina vinango futi wakuza kagule vinango.
The residents have since urged the hospital staff to improve on their service delivery in order to ensure that operations at hospitals run smoothly.
Nakondena cheve mwanzi vani vachita manesezi tipemba kwa msitanzireko tifuna kota nzizo baikireko nzeru pano na mankwala niyo shotera tipesika tina ma patients but vili vonse tigula so tipemba kwa government watsanganireko.
Beatrice Chabaya, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Quite genuine concerns there. I don't know, but it raises concern if someone has been employed to do something. Let's talk about those who clean, who ensure that the environment are kept clean at the healthy facility there. Instead of doing their job, they're busy selling yes drinks, fritters in the corridors. Then why is government paying? Selling is not bad. We are glad they're doing that, but at that point, their core business is to ensure that they provide that service by ensuring that the clinic is clean at all time. Why would you leave dirty toilets
and then go and start selling?
And then go and start selling when your job is to clean those toilets?
Yeah, anyway, I hope those people be brought to book, because that is not even the area of, expertise. They're not supposed to start selling things if they're employed to clean. So you find that this street vending has now begun in hospitals. There have also been such concerns about street vending has begun. The corridors are full of people selling things. People can't even let the patients on wheelchairs pass in peace, because now the corridors are filled like it's a hospital, not a market. So anyway, I hope the authorities actually get to deal with that. But anyway, let's just take a look at another story from the Citizens First Party, where the President Harry Kalaba has predicted that come 2026, the UPND may not, in fact, according to him, he said, will not attend its manifesto. Let's just take a look at the story and rejoin us in the conversation.
The United Party for National Development, UPND's 2021 to 2026 manifesto is summed up in 12 points, among which is the creation of quality jobs, particularly for the youth, the eradication of poverty and inequalities, as well as the transformation and diversification of the economy in order to meet the aspirations of the Zambian people. While the UPND, which is now in office, has been applauded by some stakeholders in areas like the fight against corruption for showing commitment to end this scourge, others have expressed concern on the overall party's manifesto and its attainability before the end of its 5-year mandate in 2026. This is because despite the provision of cooperative funding under the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, youth have been demanding for employment creation away from CDF can benefit from this initiative. Weighing in on the UPND's manifesto and its attainability by the year 2026, Citizens First Party President Harry Kalaba is of the view that the UPND's campaign promises will not be attained.
I think you all know that the UPND is not taking us anywhere. The UPND as a party does not know whether they are coming or they are going. And so to even begin thinking that the UPND is going to do anything is a wastage of time. There's no way he's taking our country. He is a corporate president. He has given tax holidays to the people that sponsored him to be in power. And so he's not helping Zambians, but helping himself and those who sponsored him to be in power. And the Zambians will continue languishing, as is being reflected by the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection. Really, the cost of living will continue escalating because the president is not there to deal with these matters.
Mr. Kalaba has also called for the investor of Mopani copper mines on the copper belt to be named, stating that Zambians are interested in knowing who will be managing the mine.
We are all hoping he was going to tell us the ones who are taking over KCL. He's not saying all these things. So he's basically going there for show, going there to show that he's president of Zambia. He has arrived, he has reached, and that is not helping us in any way. Nothing at all.
The Citizens First Party president knows that Zambians voted to see change and will not accept otherwise. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Quite interesting there. So according to the Citizens First Party, President Harry Kalaba, he states that the UPND will not attend its campaign promises, as evidenced by the cost of rising, shown by the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, which has shown that the cost of living in Zambia increased by 200 kwacha in February as compared to January, and then also we have other issues such as fuel and many other economic fundamentals. So in a Miriam, that is the view of the Citizens First Party. They're saying the UPND has got this manifesto which states this, but none of these will be achieved.
But according to them, they have argued on various occasions that it's quite early to judge them,
Yeah, definitely.
They're only a year plus in office, so would want to give them time and see how, they will perform. So for now we are observing, and we hope that, certain measures have been put in place to ensure that, these issues that have continued to greatly affect the citizens, almost everyone in the country, are addressed in totality. If I say in totality in all angles, if we're going to talk about the high cost of living, it's addressed. If we're going to talk about this, it's addressed. If we're going to talk about the healthy sector, the mining sector, the what, everything is addressed in totality. Well, we'll give them time. For now, we'll give them time and observe. But then we're moving forward, Zipporah. On our topic of discussion this morning, before we are joined by the doctor, I know I don't even know how to say this, but you know, Zipporah, what knowledge do you have about Nsunko?
It's not mostly, it's smoked by old women. According to me, I don't know much, but what I know, what I think anyway, there may not be facts, but my perception and view is that it's smoked by old women. But I've seen that these days it's smoked by even the younger women. Just the other day, you know, they went to buy some tomatoes, and there was a nurse, in her uniform. That was around 15, I don't know if she was going home or maybe going for a shift. And you'll find that at the same stand where they sell tomato, even Nsunko is sold. And she was actually whispering, Nsunko.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And there the exchange went on, the buying. And then she looked at me, she smiled because of that. She thought like, oh, this is something on me. So I think it has become normal. And you know, it actually gets addictive. We've seen people unable to control themselves. So we really don't know what the issue is with the Nsunko that has come.
Anyway, if you are watching us this morning, please do call us in or send us a message on Facebook. We'll be able to read it through. Tell us, what is your view on Nsunko? Why do women in Zambia, you know, take Nsunko? What is the benefit? What is the reason? What are the healthy implications? Anyway, should it be banned? Anyway, we'll be joined later on in studio by a doctor who is going to tell us the healthy implication of Nsunko. But for now, you, our viewers who is watching us there, give us your thought. Why do you think women in Zambia take Nsunko? And we have seen that young girls are now, you know, coming on board, taking these things. Others, Zipporah, they have alleged so many times that, you know, it keeps your body warm and stuff like that. I do not know. Has it been scientifically proven?
Those may just be it. So we need to know from the doctor the disadvantage, you know, implications of taking that, because that should be equated to cocaine or something. You know, that is a drug.
And you know the way I've seen the way they sniff it in, like. Okay, we had one of our reporter who we had last year who did a story on Nsunko. It was quite hilarious, and I don't know why women take that. I don't know. I don't know.
Viewers out there can tell us and really what the issue is with the Nsunko. But do you know, Miriam, do you even know what are the ingredients of this Nsunko?
I have no idea, Zip.
But a long time ago, I'm sure you are aware that it was mostly smoked by old women. People used to look down on it, actually. People used to look down on it, but now it's more like an in thing. Everybody is getting addicted. I wonder what are the ingredients of this Nsunko, and really is it healthy?
Do you think we are now abusing the thing? Given the fact that, you know, back then it used to be taken by old women, maybe it had, you know, some special attachment thing of only old people can take this, but now we have seen young people, you know, doing this. Do you think we're abusing the thing?
Yeah, I think we need more sensitization, actually, maybe from the Ministry of Health or something. We need more sensitization on this issue of Nsunko. I think it needs to be analyzed. It's something that should be taken seriously, you know. Of course, things like tobacco are regulated. We talk about tobacco.
Yeah.
Tobacco is regulated. Of course, there's some concerns here and there, but this Nsunko, who has measured the quantities or qualities of whatever it is? How is it made? Is it made in a clean environment? Who has measured the ingredients, really? What if they're cancerous? Are we killing our own selves? Should Nsunko sellers have a license to sell this?
That is quite interesting.
Should they have a license to sell this, you know, certified Nsunko seller? And you know that Nsunko is, you know, actually, you know, the Zambian Bureau of Standards actually comes to verify that, okay, this one is fit for consumption. Are we saying that, or maybe is it the same Kachasu Saga?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And I don't think there's anyone who is ensuring that, you know, policies are followed, there's regulation being done. It's just a mere thing. This is a traditional thing that people want to take in. But, you know, most of the time people have attached this Nsunko thing of being one of those sexual boosters. You know, people would claim, people have claimed, those we have interviewed several times, that, you know, when you take these things, they'll keep your body warm. you know, I don't know. Those are kind of the stories that we keep on getting. But anyway, what is it scientific proof? You're thinking in your mind, okay, this will help me, you know, perform in a certain way, but you don't know whether that thing will give you cancer at the end of the day.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So, Miriam, just like the same Kachaso story you're talking about, I think it has gone quiet after that issue of the Ministry of Local Government, you know, going in the communities and overturning these ports of Kachaso. But there was a suggestion earlier saying, you know, this Kachaso should be measured in terms of alcohol content. But Miriam, I mean, really, I think we need to follow it up as journalists. Just after that saga, everything just went quiet. And you know, and everything has returned to normal. And you know, talking about Kachaso, when I went to Mazabuka, Zipporah, there's a compound called Calais. Is it Calais or Calais or something like that? Those guys, I think they are #1 sellers of Kachaso. Almost each and every house you go to are making that Kachaso. In Mazabuka. In Mazabuka. So you would imagine now how the generation of youths that we're going to have, the generation of people that we're going to have a few years from now, if we're going to have young people as early as 15 years taking Kachaso, because it's readily at their disposal at any time. You know, no one can, you know, tell them, no, don't take this. As long as their parents are not there, they're able to take the Kachaso, sip it in and try it. But anyway, that is bad. And think government should come on board and ensure that, you know, these areas where they are taking this Kachaso thing, I ensure that they are regulated. You know, certain stiff measures are put in place, because we have seen people taking advantage of these things all in the name of doing business. But should we cry or put the lives of people in danger all in the name of doing business? Yeah, so what is your take as a viewer on the issue of Nsunko as well as other illicit, you know, I don't know what I can say, addictions like Kachaso and in others? What is your take on that? So do call in the numbers that are scrolling on your screen, or leave us a message on Facebook. And Miriam, that time, interestingly, someone was saying, you know, these things like Kachaso in terms of regulations, Zambia can actually be one of the countries. Like, okay, we have our own things, like, you know, for these traditional drinks, the mahels, the munkoyos, and all that. So someone was saying we should actually leverage on those and make them more packaged, just in the same way they were saying that Kachaso should be, it's a local brew, we should sell it on the international market. I don't know how possible it is. They're saying when the alcohol content is regulated, but anyway, I don't know how safe that is. Anyway, quite interesting. Can imagine in Denmark drinking Kachaso. I hear it's quite strong. I hear it's quite strong. And the Kachaso. At that time in Chongwe, I was called, there was a story where a man died after he took Kachaso. This was only like 1 month ago, Miriam, and this was after all the happenings where... the man didn't eat. I'm told that if you're taking Kachaso, you need to make sure that you have eaten. Yeah. But really, what's up with the Kachaso? Is it... How is it even made? You know, I don't even know anything about, you know, this alcohol. Anyway, I think we'll have a guest next time where they will explain to us how this is made and the implication that this has on someone's health. So, Kachaso, also looking at the issue of, you know, last week the Lusaka City Council issued a statement where they're saying they'll be going around communities, monitoring bars that operate in communities. So maybe your take on that. Have you seen maybe in your area, or have you seen around Lusaka, or in another part of the country, this issue of bars in the residential areas? We have seen, but though in my area we don't have, you know, like most bars, yeah. But I've seen quite some few places where I go to do, when we go in the field, we do our stories from. An example I can give is Kanyama. Kanyama, John Lake, Mississippi Compound, Chawama, John Howard. These are the places which we have seen the mushrooming of bars in communities. And you know, the sad part, Zipporah, is that these women, I don't know, even men, okay, they would send their little child as young as 5, 8 years, and the child is going to a bar. Now, what that tells you, Zipporah, is that anything can happen. That's negligence from their parents. And actually training up a child, to think that these things are normal.
These things are normal. That's why you will find that in our compound, the sad part is that most young chaps, when they are at, they get to 12 years, 13 years, 15 years, they're abusing these, alcohol, talking about smoking and what, because they have seen that it's a normal thing. Because their parent, if a parent can send you at a young age, when you're only 8, when you're only 5, go and buy this for me, they think, okay, it's normal, because so it's a normal thing. And one thing that we should realize is that when we are parents, the way I'm talking, like when we are parents, we are parents in waiting, but as parents, people should understand that your children look up to you. You are their #1 role model. So if you're going to act in a certain different way, the child definitely will adapt that thing. So sometimes people should realize that 100% of the people we get to have in the community are what their parents used to do. Because basically someone is just acting how their parents used to do. I think only a few would say, I don't want to be like my father, I don't want to be like my mother. I know what they did was bad and stuff like that. They used to abuse drugs and stuff like that. But me, I've taken it upon myself to ensure that I become different. I bring that change. We see only a few, but the majority of those people look up to their fathers and their mothers as role models. So if your mother is one of the person that abuses alcohol most of the time, that abuses insunko most of your times, that's when we see young people indeed, taking advantage of that. But anyway, right about now we go direct. We will transition into our next segment where we'll be joined by a medical doctor, Dr. Teddy Mulenga. We are going to look at various issues concerning with regards to tobacco, shisha, nsunko, and so on. We take a short break and we'll be right back.
Akola kansheko alakula chancha mukero kula chekerera ucho mwana na nyina ngaba kutuka uwinge wangu nangati kasambe nani ingata mwishire pekati tuiposhe bana fia sasa ushe umwana na nyina ingana ngaba kutuka uwinge wangu nangati kasambe nani mwe ipisha hii ipisha ni abo mwikere nabo.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. In studio, we have now been joined by Dr. Teddy Mulenga, who is the Secretary General of Zambia Alliance for Tobacco Control. And he's helping us in studio this morning discuss on various issues with regards to tobacco and also the possibility of banning shisha in Zambia and how this has affected the majority of young people in our country. Good morning, Doc, and welcome to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show.
Morning, Miriam, and morning, Zipporah. It's a pleasure to be back to the, the station.
So glad you are not a new guest here. We are glad to have you on set once again. Now, Doc, to start with our discussion this morning, just give us a general view of the dangers and health risk of tobacco consumption.
Yeah, okay. Tobacco, first of all, is not food. I mean, everybody knows that. There is no benefit we get from consumption of tobacco. So it's not food, but it's toxic. It is a substance that contains about 270 chemicals. And out of that 270 chemicals, 70 of them are cancer-causing chemicals, such as the arsenic, cadmium, chromium, copper. Even our copper is toxic, if you get it straight into your body. Manganese, such kind of chemicals. They are very cancerogenic. And the tar which you walk on on the roads. Right. So the first effect of tobacco which you notice is addiction. It's very addictive. That means somebody who has been smoking for some time will do anything. If given a choice between buying a loaf of bread and tobacco, the person will go for tobacco, even where there are children. That's how addictive it is. From there, it affects all the organs, we know. Because nicotine, which is contained in tobacco, the main component, makes the blood vessels constrict or become small, or spasm of the vessels. So you have coronary heart disease, what you call angina. In the kidneys will not filtrate urine properly because the blood vessels are passing very little blood. So all the organs do suffer. Eyes, everything, hearing, all right? And of course teeth, you find yellow teeth and widely spaced teeth and all that, and decaying of teeth. But also, women must not, women smokers face possibility of infertility. They may not have children because the ovaries are not getting enough oxygen and blood, and therefore they don't produce the eggs properly. Men too, because of poor blood circulation, there is poor sperm quality, and also there is erectile dysfunction. If that cannot scare men, don't know what to scare them. So it's a broad, and of course it can cause cancer of the lungs, cancer of the throat, cancer of the mouth, cancer of the liver, cancer of everything that you can imagine, because the chemicals, they do circulate in the blood. So that's the general overview of the effects of tobacco on our health.
Quite interesting introduction there. In case you're just joining us, we're joined by Dr. Teddy Mulenga, who's helping us discuss the effect of tobacco smoking, as well as shisha and many other things such as msunko. What is your take on these things? Should they be banned in Zambia, or how best can they be regulated? Just to help us, set the tone for our interview, we have a story that we did with a doctor last year where he was talking about the need to ban shisha smoking. So let's just take a look at that story and join us in the conversation as it unfolds. We have
According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, people who inhale smoke passed on from public smokers are in danger of various types of illnesses such as coronary heart disease, stroke, and lung cancer. This is because the smoke, despite not being inhaled directly, has more than 7,000 chemicals, 70 of which can cause cancer. Infants and children with weak immune systems are even at higher risk. The vice of public smoking has, however, continued in Zambia, despite statutory instrument number 39 of 2008 declaring this as illegal. If found guilty, one is liable to a fine or imprisonment of up to 2 years. A medical doctor, Teddy Mulenga, says there is need to fully effect laws on public smoking as the health of second-hand smokers is highly endangered.
So, but are we implementing them? That is the question. And if we are not doing that, why are we not doing that? That's why the Tobacco Free Association of Zambia, they want a comprehensive act that would encompass everything and with implementation strategies. Otherwise, public smoking is a danger to our children, it's a danger to the youth, it's a danger to everybody, because it forces you to consume that which you do not want to consume.
Dr. Mulenga has also called for a complete ban on shisha smoking, which he says is on the rise in Zambia, stating that it is more dangerous than regular cigarettes due to the high levels of nicotine.
When you take 1 hour of shisha smoking, it translates to smoking all at once 100 cigarettes. Now you can imagine how much nicotine you are taking in, how much risk you have of developing oral tongue cancer, throat cancer, stomach cancer. If you are using the same pipe, which they usually do, you have seen them, you stand the risk of getting infections that are transmitted from the mouth. Herpes, H. pylori, which causes the stomach ulcers, okay? COVID itself, isn't it? Tuberculosis. So these are risks of shisha.
He has also called for the enactment of the Tobacco Control Bill to see matters on tobacco effectively regulated. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Quite interesting there. We are looking at the effect of tobacco consumption and also how shisha is affecting the young people in our community. And in studio we are joined by Dr. Teddy Mulenga, who is helping us discuss our topic this morning. Now, Doc, we have seen laws being passed to ban public smoking, but has this been effective?
Yeah, when Honorable Silver Masebo was the local government minister in the MMD government, she initiated a law to ban public smoking. And the law is there, but the implementation is poor. I've seen, of course, you won't be allowed to smoke at Intercity. That's very good. You won't be able to smoke in the bus. So that is also very good. In the shops, you won't be allowed. But in many other places, people are still smoking in public. Some bars, some nightclubs, they are still allowing people to smoke in public. So implementation has been a problem. We could do better, I think.
Just talking about, the effect that passive smoking has on when someone is smoking in public, that implication that it gives on an individual is not smoking.
Miriam, I mean, smoking is smoking. Whether it is passive or active, the smoke still gets into the body. So the effects are just the same as somebody who is smoking. It's only the dosage is a little bit less, but the effect is the same.
Quite interesting.
Yeah.
And the association also has been advocating for the ban of shisha smoking in Zambia. What is the update? Are you succeeding against this fight?
Well, we are still fighting. Zambia Alliance for Tobacco Control has put shisha as #1. We are actually working on meeting our stakeholders, meeting our leaders, so that we can consensitize them, so that they can ban the importation of, we don't make shisha equipment. It comes from India and Middle East. So we are trying to convince them that it is doing more harm than good to our young people. As you know, they tend to think that taking shisha is classy.
Classic.
Yeah, so.
But the argument is that shisha might not be different as tobacco. Because you're smoking, at the end of the day, both things will bring you cancer. Maybe just try to highlight us the dangers between shisha and cigarette. What is more dangerous between the two?
Well, they both carry a risk. But the bad news to the shisha users is that, contrary to popular belief, smoking shisha, you take in more nicotine and other chemicals we mentioned that are dangerous to the body. Because a session of 1 hour of smoking shisha translates to the use of 100 cigarettes. That's 5 packets. 5 packets of 20 each at one go. So the idea that when you are smoking shisha, it's classy, it's actually more dangerous. The dosage is higher. So people must change the attitude towards shisha. It's the other way around. It poses greater danger to the body than even the cigarette itself.
Quite interesting. That we do have a message from one of our viewers who's watching us on Facebook, Mr. Chipego Wendia, who says, the white man has taught us that everything African is bad, yet they have weed, cocaine, and other drugs. Though I feel there should be regulation to avoid bad effects of Nsungo. So this man is commenting on the other topic that we had on Nsungo. So he says he feels that, the white man has taught us that everything African is bad. So just kindly break it down for us when we talk about Nsungo. What makes up Nsungo? What are the ingredients?
Well, I don't know, Zipporah, maybe no.
Maybe what are some of the negative
no, that's right. The constituents we shall talk about it. I was just wondering if you were born in the village, because some of us who grew up in the village, we saw our grandmothers making Nsungo. Yeah, and putting it through the
Unfortunately, I was not born in the village.
through the nose and under the tongue. My mother actually used to use a lot of Nsungo. So I saw her making. What they do is just they pound tobacco, dry it. Yeah, the regular tobacco. They dry it and then they pound it, and it becomes very, very, and they use stones to make it more perfect, more smooth. And then they add the ash, the ash from cooking, yeah, and soda. So those are the chemicals that constitute Nsungo.
What are the negative effects? Soda, got ash, got
soda,
tobacco. This is sodium bicarbonate.
Yes.
So what are some of the, are there any negative effects
of using Nsungo? You see, us as an association, Alliance for Tobacco Control, what we are worried about is not only consumption of Nsungo the old way, that is through the nose and under the tongue. We are concerned about the new trend in our young ladies that want to so-called satisfy their partners by thinking that inserting Nsungo in the private part will make them warmer, will make them tighter. Because scientifically research has been done, nothing of that nature is true. So this is a worrying trend, because for example, what we know about Zambia is that we are at number 3 in the prevalence of cervical cancer in Africa. First is Swaziland, followed by Tanzania, and Zambia comes third. We lose about 3,000 people in 1 year due to cervical cancer. And putting Nsungo in the private parts is a one-way ticket, of inviting cervical cancer. So this is our main concern. And others, they think that Nsungo controls blood pressure, sugar disease, again, which is not true. In fact, tobacco actually increases blood pressure. So
it's quite interesting that people have different beliefs over this Nsungo.
Yeah.
And we have seen that, Doc, most of our mothers and young ladies in the communities, talking about Kanyama, Misisi, and other surrounding places, continue to abuse this same Nsungo.
Indeed, and that's what is worrying us as an alliance against tobacco control. And that's why I'm here. We are trying to spread the awareness. We do some other ways of spreading awareness. You'll be hearing about us very often.
Quite interesting there. In case you're just joining us, we're discussing the smoking of tobacco, the smoking of shisha, the smoking of msunko. What is your take on that, and really how is it affecting mostly women and youth in the community? Now, talking about productivity, Doc, have we seen maybe many youths preferring to smoke, this shisha, this msunko, or instead of involving in productive activities? Does it have any negative effect on their productivity? This addiction, should it be of concern to us?
Obviously, you see, a smoker who is addicted will spend half of the day smoking instead of working, because they take unwarranted breaks, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, very regular, maybe every hour. Nobody takes such kind of breaks, but smokers, they do that, and that is working against productivity in general. Other than that, what they do is engage in these activities in our compounds instead of engaging in useful activities like sports or even looking for work.
Now, Doc, when we were talking earlier with Zipporah before you came on set, we were thinking, do you think it's possible to ensure that msunko is also regulated, just like the way tobacco is? Because you have said quite right that this also has a negative impact on someone's health. Do you think government should come on board and regulate this msunko thing, given that it's a traditional thing that people used to do a long time ago?
Yeah, Miriam, there is nothing good about the word traditional if it is bringing harm. Yeah, so we have to move away from harmful traditions, and one of them is inserting in sunko or putting it in the nose or under the tongue, because of it contains quite a high substances of cancer causing substances. I mentioned arsenic, copper, manganese, cadmium, chromium, and others. And so you are likely to develop lung cancer, throat cancer, mouth cancer, stomach cancer, and all these things. So yes, government must come in to see that through awareness and also through passing statutory instruments, that we either ban the sale of it. We shouldn't see it in markets. Something must be done.
But which one is more dangerous? And look at regular cigarettes and sunko. Which one is more dangerous?
They are all carrying tobacco, so they are all dangerous.
But in terms of maybe this one is more dangerous than the other, which one?
Well, I mentioned shisha is number one, because of the dosage. As I said, 1 hour of shisha is 100 cigarettes, so the dosage is quite high. But there is no good, devil. A devil is a devil. So in sunko, shisha, and cigarettes, they are all in the same pot. You see, we have a saying that cigarette smoking is like fire at the end of a stick and a fool at the other end. Yeah.
Quite interesting there. So we are joined by Dr. Teddy Mlenga, just helping us discuss this issue of tobacco, shisha, and tobacco smoking. So do call or leave us a message on Facebook. So Doc, like my colleague earlier asked, is it possible, is it realistic when someone says it should be regulated, or is it far-fetched? Should people, like right now, how is tobacco selling being done? Like, does someone, being from the Alliance for Tobacco Control, does someone need to have a license to sell tobacco, or does it have to be sold in a certain area? Like maybe, of course, with those rules, like a certain distance away from schools. But in terms of sunko, like what possibilities, what rules are we able to bring up to make sure that it is well regulated?
No, I don't think we can win by just you can't regulate that toxic substance. It's just better to get rid of it. Totally. We are for the ban of it.
Are we going to win if we say get rid of it? This is something that a lot of people are doing. Like I was telling my colleague Miriam earlier, saying a long time ago it used to be attributed to old women, but now there are women also taking it. I was telling another time, so a nurse was actually buying this Zungo around 15 hours in our uniform. And so it means that it is an ever-growing trend, and like you said, it is addictive.
Yeah.
So like how best can you make sure that it is
you know one thing is that when we were growing up, we thought people were smoking in the buses. There was the United Bus of Zambia, right?
You visit.
Yeah, when you are traveling, people would smoke nicely. And when you are flying from Ndola to Lusaka, or when you are flying out, they actually ask you, which cabin would you like? Smoking cabin or non-smoking cabin? So at that time, we thought it was impossible even to imagine that people would not smoke in the bus. You understand? We thought it's virtually, people are going to protest, people are going to do it. But you see, with time, we have now accepted it. So what we are trying to urge our leaders is that we should start somewhere. If you start with regulation, at least you have done something. But our aim is just to get rid of shisha, because first of all, we are importing. We are using dollars to import the equipment, and then making our children, our young people go through this, health hazard. So before it spreads to Shangombo, we should make sure that we stop importing the equipment in the first place, and then we deal with the inside issues. That's what I think. But our main focus is to get it completely banned. It is not yet too late, because it is just spreading like bushfire. So let's pour some water on that fire.
Given the fact that it's currently spreading like bushfire, and how you are going about with advocating that it should be banned, are we seeing a win in this situation?
Well, we don't give up. For us, you see, we started the fight for the introduction of the tobacco control bill, right? So,
and how far with the bill?
How far? It's about to be tabled. It has passed the cabinet stage. So what it is waiting for is just to be tabled in Parliament. So you see, when we started, it was a very difficult battle, but I think at the end of the day,
it's something that would also require parliamentary approval.
Yes, because it's a law. It's an act that has to be enacted by parliamentarians. But I think the parliamentarians are on the positive end of it. We don't have a problem there, I think.
Now, Doc, coming back to shisha on sensitization, have you done enough sensitization? Have we seen enough sensitization being done, in as much as we are advocating for the ban of shisha? Because a lot of people argue that, shisha, even if you want to ban shisha, but why don't you ban cigarette? Those would be some of the arguments. Have we seen enough sensitization being done to ensure that indeed there's need to ban shisha because it's not good for one's health?
The issue about banning cigarettes, there are some countries where cigarette smoking is banned, like Bhutan, an Arab country, right? They don't smoke. There are some countries where drinking alcohol is banned. Zambians think it's very strange. But if you go to Saudi Arabia and you produce a beer, you'll be imprisoned. So, with time, people learn. We do not think that cigarette smoking must be banned. That is a little bit too early, because it would produce a very big black market. But for shisha, it is just spreading now. So that's why we are saying, before it reaches Shangombo, nip it in the bud. That's the way we are looking at it. Are we doing a lot of enough in sensitization? I just saw Zipporah's program, so she's helping us to sensitize. So Camnet has been there. You are helping. I'm here. I was there. I was here the other time. So that is one way we are moving. Sensitization also of our leaders. Last year we met all permanent secretaries, and in fact we were meeting. The intention was to meet ministers. Some of them we met. Some of them they delegated to permanent. We went through trying to spread the message, and we had to talk to all government officials. So yeah, we are spreading the message, and you are also helping. That's why we are here seated together.
And what are some of the demands of the tobacco control bill? What are some of the things that you are advocating for in the bill?
Well, in the first place, it looks at comprehensive control of the promotion of of tobacco and its sales. Where do you sell the cigarettes? How do you sell the cigarettes? Things like selling one stick encourages children, you understand. So tobacco bill encourages things like making sure that there is no nearby place near schools which is selling cigarettes. As you have seen, you can go to the schools, you find not very far from the school, people are selling cigarettes. So the tobacco bill will control that. Public smoking in public, I mean, smoking in public places, the tobacco bill will address that. The sale, to who do you sell? At what age? Things will have to be looked at. So there are guidelines from WHO which the tobacco bill has incorporated. And it's a very positive bill. It is all-encompassing, so it addresses the promotion, that's advertising, on TV or in newspapers, posters, how the packaging of tobacco should be.
They should say...
No, sometimes
smoke and die, something like that.
No, sometimes there should be nothing. It should be blank.
We have seen on packets written smoking is harmful to your body, but
they still
smoke. But talking about the bill and what it contains, I'm glad that you have mentioned that you know, it will also talk about who should be sold to. Because we have seen in compounds, like I was telling you earlier, small children, they are sent by their parents and
and they do buy.
Yeah. Even the same, and this sunko, even when people sell tomatoes, it's there everywhere. Here there's sunko, here there's clay soil, here there are tomatoes.
Everything is adaptive. Clay soil should be banned as well.
The pregnant women will be up in arms.
But we also have had some concerns about, when you talk about tobacco, we've had some concerns where people are saying there are some, is it substandard tobacco that is being legally imported in the country? As an alliance, what is your take on such issues, and how best have you tried, to advocate so that, we only have quality or high quality and not substandard, because we don't know really what is constituted in this substandard tobacco that is being illegally imported into the country.
It's called the illicit trade in tobacco. 5 months ago, we initiated a study which was sponsored by some American companies. We initiated a study into this illicit tobacco, business. And so we are looking at the routes which it takes, how does it enter, what are some of the products that are, some of these products are actually more toxic than the cigarettes we are accustomed to. So they contain even more chemicals to try and push their market. So we had that kind of study, and we are trying to put it on, in fact we have already put it on the website, where anyone who is interested to find out what is happening vis-a-vis tobacco consumption in Zambia can get a lot of information as regards the illicit trade of tobacco in Zambia. So yeah, we are attacking that line as well.
But how serious is this problem?
It is a big one. It's a big one because they are cheaper.
Could it be a problem? Like, what could be the problem? Is it our borders or? Everything
is a problem. How do human beings enter in a truck, pressurized truck, they enter a country, and now you are talking about a cigarette? It's much easier to smuggle a cigarette than to smuggle human beings. But you have seen how many human beings we've intercepted, some dead in trucks. Now cigarettes, they'll package it like sweets or cornflakes, and it will enter. Besides, the borders, there are issues there. I don't want to say much with corruption. I'm able to pay somebody and declare wrongly, and the stuff comes in. There are many ways they manage to make these things come in.
So really, when you talk about, earlier talking about Zungu, we're saying, should there be an age limit of people who are allowed to go and buy this? Is it attainable? And really, of course, alcohol we have for the under 18, no under 18. But for tobacco, its harmful effect. Have we seen the same kind of regulation, and should it be extended to Zungu? Have we seen, or maybe just anyone can buy tobacco? How is the situation in Zambia?
That's exactly why we are trying to fight for the enactment of the tobacco control bill, because in there are stringent measures against the sale of tobacco to underage.
But right now it's just open for everyone?
It's not open. You know, there are these small regulations that are not very effective. That's why we want something very comprehensive. I don't think there's anyone who has allowed children to be sold cigarettes. But nobody is looking because there's no supporting act behind it. And nobody cares really. So
they only care about the money. As long as you get the money at the end of the day.
The money is the ruler, yes. So to say.
Quite interesting. Anyway, you are watching the Camnet TV Breakfast Show, and we're talking about the effects, the dangers and health risk of tobacco consumption, extending it to sunko, shisha, and all other things. And in studio, we are joined by Dr. Teddy Mlenga, who is helping us discuss this topic of discussion this morning. Right about now, we'll take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Thank you for staying tuned in. We are discussing the dangers of tobacco smoking, shisha smoking, and the taking of msungu, and how this has become a norm in Zambia. We're joined by Dr. Teddy Mlenga, who's helping us discuss the topic. So we are already in the conversation. Do call us via the phone lines that are showing on the screen and contribute in today's discussion. What are the dangers of youths, women, and general citizens out there taking shishas, smoking, inhaling sunko, and smoking tobacco? How best would you like it to be regulated? If in case you're not aware, about 7,000 people in Zambia die annually from tobacco-related diseases such as cancer. So this is an epidemic or an endemic that we're not really discussing in Zambia. But anyway, we do have a comment from one of our viewers here who says, the tobacco companies are not complying with those and they are very corrupt. So the battle will never be won. Anyway, your take on that, doctor? I don't know if it's true, but you're the ones who know.
No, it's very true. You see, we in this Zambia Tobacco, Zambia Alliance for Tobacco Control, and the Tobacco Free Association of Zambia are very much aware that whenever we try to bring up some good fight against tobacco, we actually unravel attacks from the tobacco companies. And you find them either donating maternity wards or computers, you know, to try and promote their image. And also, they also actively, you know, engage government officials. The last time it was the, I think the head of the Employers Association who came out very much against the tobacco bill. So this is how tobacco companies operate. They try to associate themselves with government. So in fact, the tobacco control bill contains some provision where it discourages government agencies. Like, you will not, a tobacco company will not be allowed to donate to a government facility. Like, we shall build you maternity, blah, blah, blah. Here.
Oh, here.
Yes.
Have we seen them doing that?
No, I mean the tobacco bill.
Oh, okay.
Will discourage government involvement with tobacco companies. So that's it. Yes, they, you know, they give you a sweet this side, then this side they give you a penicillin injection, that painful injection, so in form of tobacco.
I think that that will be one way of, you know, you cannot basically separate 10 away from someone who just donated something from you and say,
so how are you
things help us.
Exactly. So they will donate computers to a school. How are you going to enact a law? You see why it has been difficult. Zambia ratified the convention which promotes this tobacco bill, the FCTC convention, WHO, in 2008. Today is how many years? We were supposed to domesticate it then. So how many years has passed now? 15? Something like that. So you can see there is a big fight between the tobacco industry and us on the other side who are trying to advocate tobacco control. But on the other thing, I wanted to produce some stunning statistics here so that people can understand what's happening. COVID killed from 2019 December to today in Zambia has killed 4,000 plus, a little bit, 4,000 people, right? That is about how many years? 2019, 20, 21, 23 years. Cigarettes. Cigarette-related deaths in Zambia are amounting to 8,000 per year. So it's even more than COVID. Now, in Zambia, we are spending about 2.8 billion kwacha treating lung cancer at the cancer disease hospitals, lung-related illnesses like emphysema, air in the lungs and water distraction, heart diseases, strokes, all related to the use of tobacco. The amount of 2.8 billion kwacha. That is 1.2% of GDP. So this information should scare us, and yet the participation of tobacco industry into the GDP is less than 1%, something like 0.04%. So it's people who say, no, it's economics, we are getting money from it. They haven't done the mathematics well. So we are actually losing about 8,000 people per year, tobacco-related illnesses, whereas COVID killed 4,000 in 3 years. So tobacco is much more disastrous.
Despite losing you know, lives, we are also losing a lot of resources again. Indeed,
we are losing a lot of resources. We haven't even talked about the environmental damage of tobacco, cutting trees, you know, curing the kids they are using in the tobacco farms. They don't go to school. They are being used by parents because tobacco production is very intensive related production. You need a lot of manpower, so they are using children. And then there is a green leaf syndrome where tobacco penetrates your skin and then you start getting sick. So we haven't even mentioned all these things. So there's quite a lot.
We need to go and address some of these things, you know. It's more like the issue of using children to marry back. Anyway, Doc, even as we are heading towards the conclusion, going forward, what would you like to see concerning shisha, sunko, and tobacco smoking? What is your message out there?
The message coming from the Tobacco Alliance, Zambia Alliance for Tobacco Control, is that for shisha, before, again, I'm mentioning Shangwambo or Pemba, before it reaches Pemba or Mwense, we should first of all stop the importation of the equipment. Once we've done that, then we deal with what is already in the country, regulate it, and then move to banning shisha use, because a lot of our young men and women are just going crazy on shisha. So our message is stop the importation of shisha equipment, regulate the shisha use, and then ban it. That's the message.
Quite interesting there, Doc. Thank you so much for coming through. We are glad that you could join us on set and discuss about this issue intensively and in detail, so that our mothers out there and the youngsters who understand that in Sunko, shisha is bad for your body. Please, it's not warming your body like the doctor said.
Or making you tight.
Or making you tight. Please do not. That is just one way of bringing cancer to your body, and it's very, very bad. But anyway, for me, Miriam Kaimba, and my colleague Zipporah Mshalala, this is where we come to the end of our program this morning. But please do make a date with us tomorrow morning, the same time. For us, it's bye-bye and stay blessed.
And everybody said amen.